native land, of peace, tranquility, and majestic beauty fashioned by the hand of God. Blessed by nature with vast, sprawling, verdant plains, and mile upon mile of lush, abundant farmland. With rugged boundaries guarding our peaceful nation of 145 million Americans. Great cities mark our skylines. Happy, eager people throng our streets. Busy factories, reflecting nature's blessings, shape a glorious future. But nature's blessings are subject to the furies of its elements. Man's work is puny before the onslaught of mighty forces. Lush lands are devastated by the hot breath of catastrophe. Today, men and science, constantly on guard, give battle to these destructive forces. U.S. Weather Bureau and Coast Guard experts chart storm paths and flash hurricane warnings to help minimize the toll of this menace. Hurricanes yearly threaten havoc to millions living along the Gulf and Atlantic coasts. Organized to combat calamity are thousands of volunteers serving with the American Red Cross, nerve center for 5 area offices of the Disaster Preparedness and Relief Service is at National Headquarters, Washington, D.C. Here, a vast communications network is in immediate contact with the scene of every major catastrophe occurring throughout the United States. When a major disaster threatens, facilities and resources of military, naval, Coast Guard, and civil authorities join forces with the Red Cross to expedite relief operations in stricken areas. Through its area offices, Red Cross reaches its 3,754 chapters and 5,578 branches, covering every county in the United States. In a stricken region, key people from municipal, health, and safety forces are in session. A disaster preparedness committee, which months before organized a program to cope with such emergencies as they now face. With the community threatened, the disaster program swings into action. Areas have been surveyed, temporary shelters, feeding and medical stations designated. Nothing has been overlooked in the preparedness plan.
Hurricane Area 11. Hurricane Area 11, preparing to evacuate all residents. Request 17 additional trucks, 2 ambulances.
Major task now, the saving of human life. Thousands must be moved speedily from danger zones to shelters. Difficulties of transportation and blocked highways must be overcome. Emergency crews comb the countryside to expedite safety measures. Old-time residents reluctant to leave their homes must be assisted. Every effort is made to save movable household goods. Livestock, so essential to farm life, must be rescued and routed to places of security. By the time the predicted disaster strikes, the Preparedness Committee and cooperating agencies have worked hard in staving off heavier death and property toll. Despite nature's rampage, the emergency needs of the disrupted populace are met. terrifying twister, tornado, swoops with cataclysmic fury upon helpless communities. In its wake, utter desolation and death. Tornadoes strike somewhere in this country on an average of 146 times a year. Another unpredictable disaster, earthquake. In recent years, 45 states have experienced its tremors. Earthquakes smash gas and water mains. Fires quickly follow, spread unchecked, causing tremendous life and property loss. Fire, the great destroyer, constantly ravages our land. Property loss alone in 1 year reached $500 million. Fires, most of them caused by man's negligence, continue to destroy, to maim, and to kill. Forest fires denude the land, causing soil erosion and then floods. Preventive measures can only lessen, not eliminate, man's carelessness. In a single year, over 200,000 forest fires destroyed enough timber to build 250,000 badly needed homes. There is always work for disaster crews. Tragedy at sea occurs infrequently. Nevertheless, chapter workers are ready when survivors are brought ashore, providing blankets, clothing, hot food, nurses, ambulances. Home service quickly communicates with worried families of passengers and crew. Railroad accidents are more frequent, some of them serious. Within minutes after this crash, chapter units were assisting police and hospital workers in rescue and first aid. Air travel, ever on the increase, is not without its unfortunate incidents. In a 12-month period, over 1,000 men lost their lives in mine and quarry accidents. Each stark tragedy leaves its scars on families for years to come. Of the thousands of major disasters during the last half-century, hundreds were floods. This torrential force sweeps homes and hopes away, making destitute hundreds of thousands of people. Floods have happened in every month and in every state. In one great flood alone, the American people rushed $25 million to the Red Cross to help 1 million homeless. Repeated experiences with disasters have given Red Cross workers the know-how of meeting these situations without confusion or panic. One of the major responsibilities is feeding the hungry. Strategically located canteens serve hot, nourishing food to lift the spirits of the tired refugees. When the immensity of disaster overwhelms local facilities, national and area headquarters dispatch supplies and personnel from various points. The strength and neighborliness of the nation are concentrated on the stricken area. Overcoming such handicaps as disrupted transportation, communication, and other facilities, the disaster preparedness and relief committees and cooperating government and local agencies hold to a minimum loss of life and property. In providing food, shelter, and medical and nursing care to guard health, they have helped to check epidemics. The prepared shelters prove a godsend to the homeless. To avert hysteria, vital information is rushed in answer to the thousands of calls and telegrams from anxious relatives who fear for their loved ones. Disaster workers immediately record all deaths, hospitalizations, family placements, and shelter occupants so that separated families can be reunited. To people who have lost all their belongings, extra clothing is an urgent need. Here, the purpose of the Chapter Production Corps is achieved. This is only the beginning of disaster relief. Problems face the aged, the homeless, the injured. Many families require aid. Help is ready for those in need. Their wants will be reviewed by experienced caseworkers who will visit their homes and their injured kin in hospitals. Meeting regularly, a local advisory committee of representative community leaders hears caseworkers present full facts on each register: the family disaster loss, its resources, and the extent to which it can assume part of its rehabilitation. Beyond that, the Red Cross provides finances to meet the need. Case number 205, a 31-year-old breadwinner with wife and son. Disaster injury caused amputation of his leg. Previous family illness depleted their savings. They face large hospital bill and added expense of artificial limb. Family requires maintenance until man can work again. Caseworker recommends meeting these needs. Cost, $1,640. The committee agrees. The award is just. Case number 416. A veteran's home has been heavily damaged by fire. He has a wife and baby. The wife's health is very poor. They are heavily in debt. Needed, beyond insurance, to repair home, $1,460. Approved. Case number 91. Elderly couple in failing health and without funds. Their supporting son has been hospitalized. The case will be held active for later review. Immediate maintenance to the extent of $300 is needed. Approved. These disaster sufferers are a cross-section of America, helped to their feet again by generosity and neighborliness expressed through the Red Cross in outright gifts handled confidentially, so preserving the dignity of these citizens in their community. There are many problems to be solved after each disaster. A small herd of cattle is given to a farmer whose livelihood was swept away. replacement of a carpenter's tools enables him to resume his work. Long-term medical nursing care is provided for severely injured. A blind woman's radio, her main contact with the outside world, is restored. Nursing aid in many cases continues for months after disaster strikes. The sweep of disaster goes on. This year, every year, thousands will be maimed or killed. Some of them may be your neighbors. Millions in property will be lost. Thousands of homes destroyed. Today, 3,000 counties, and there are many agencies working through Red Cross, are prepared to meet emergency, to feed, house, and help millions of people. But today, unfortunately, there are some communities not fully organized to cope with a major calamity. Public awareness will hasten action to remove this risk. We know we should be, must be ready when disaster strikes.